Hello, welcome back to the sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series in Indianapolis. I'm Nick Miller alongside Steve Mann. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Players Championship competitor, master of Delver variants of all kinds, shapes, and sizes. You got something new here. You know, we've seen Blue-Red, we've seen Teamer, we've seen Sultai, we've seen Jeskai. Now you have Esper Delver. What brought you to this build of Delver as someone that knows the decks of that kind, just in and out?
I got the idea for this deck from my friend Pete Ingram. He top-aided Invitational last year with Bug Delver, and he just wanted to get some Stoneforge Mystics in there. And you know, I played a Stoneforge Mystic Delver deck in an Open to a top 8 finish also, and I kind of missed it. You know, like I've lost a lot of games to Stoneforge Mystic, and I kind of wanted to batter skull some people. So. But I didn't really like the blue-white-red Delver deck because it only had one 1-drop, Delver of Secrets. So I looked at the other 1-drops in the format, and the best one obviously is Deathrite Shaman. So I said, why not? You know, I kind of stole Pete's idea and put the deck together, but I'm still kind of modeling it after the blue-white-red shell.
Right.
With the 4 spell pierces and whatnot. It is kind of tricky though, because in Delver decks, you really want to minimize the number of creature spells you have to, you know, flip Delver of Secrets blindly as much as possible. Like you really want like 30 non-creature, like instants or sorceries. And like when you put 2 equipment in your deck, that aren't really creatures, and they're not lands, and they don't flip Delver, and they're not blue for Force of Will, like, it's kind of sketchy. So, like, we're kind of pushing it here, but, like, the trade-off is so sick when, you know, you can actually get the batter skull into play.
Yeah, it seems you're at the threshold of non-creature spells, basically, to flip Delver.
Yeah.
But, you know, you said with the power of Stoneforge Mystic come the equipment, and as we've seen with the Jeskai builds, it's very powerful in winning some of the Delver mirrors.
Yeah, this is like a less consistent but more powerful Delver deck.
Right. And we've seen the Grixis Delver and the 4-color Delver decks do the Delver of Secrets, Deathrite Shaman combination, as well as Sultai, but now you've got Stoneforge to go along with it. So there's your threats. You got one True Name Nemesis is just another kind of catch-all must-answer card.
Yeah, I wanted at least one of those in the main deck because, you know, you're doing so much digging with Ponder and Brainstorm. It's nice to have a card that can, like, take the game by a different angle, you know?
Right.
So.
You've got a heavy permission suite here. We've seen some of the Delver decks, especially with Treasure Cruise, you know, with past format, they kind of lighten up on spell pierces and the dazes. You've gone full hog, 4 spell pierce, 4 days, 4 Force of Will.
Yeah, Spell Pierce isn't wonderful because you know, playing decks like this, you really want free counter spells, but Deathrite Shaman kind of like gives you the extra mana you need for that, and like there's so many non-creature spells in Legacy, like there's no reason Spell Pierce isn't a great card. Yeah, so.
The rest of the deck, Brainstorm, Ponder, everyone already knows that part.
Yeah.
You got Swords of Plowshares, the premier removal spell, but you also got a Dismember here. Is this kind of just emergency backup?
Yeah, I mean, in these colors, you don't really have that great of removal. Like Swords is awesome, but you know, you don't want to play Path to Exile in a deck with Wastelands. So I was tinkering around with like Snuff Out. You can't kill Deathrite Shaman or Dark Confidant with that. I think Dismember is the next best thing. Not sure though, I could be wrong.
All right. Take us through your kind of Delver experiences. You've got top 8s with basically every archetype, and you've kind of explained to me in the past, you like Teamer Delver, you know, with Nimble Mongoose, Stifle, that kind of stuff in like an open field, and you kind of prefer like a Sultai Delver in like an invitational type field.
Yeah.
You know, what's your you know, experience and your thought processes, you know, on that type of, you know, strategy, and what got you to this?
Yeah, we've talked about a lot about that. I really like efficient decks, consistent decks, and like the rug shell is just the most efficient thing you could ever play. But once I was taking that deck to the invitationals, like my opponents were playing better, and playing around Stifle, playing around Daze more, and so I feel like in a field with better players, you kind of like need the extra power from Hymn to Torok, Abrupt Decay. So that's kind of the reason I came here. Like Swords of Plowshares is a great card for killing Tarmogoyf, something Rug Delver could never do. And I feel like Stoneforge Mystic is probably the best cheap threat that you can protect in the format. So, like I really love the combo of turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic with Daze backup because, better players will play around Daze if they can, and they usually can if you're playing Rug or something. You don't really put them on that much of a clock unless you're flipping Delver immediately. So Stoneforge Mystic kind of like forces their hand, forces them to act, and then you get them with the Daze, So I really like that interaction, and honestly, like I just kept on losing to Stoneforge Mystic, so I want to do it myself.
Got sick of it.
Yeah.
Noticeably, you bring up Hymn to Torok from the Sultai builds, something that's missing from your build, but you do have Thoughtseizes in the board. How'd you come to this conclusion on what kind of discard you wanted and where it was going to be?
Well, I was thinking about Hymn to Torok in this deck. I don't really think the mana can handle it because you really don't want to play Scrubland.
Right.
You want all your sources to be blue so you can keep a 1-lander, ponder into your second source. And so the only way you're going to cast Hymn to Torok is if you fetch up 2 Underground Seas, and that's like just very bad in this deck. You want the white source. Sometimes you even want the green source for Deathray Shaman. So although I love Hymn to Torok, I don't think it's possible here. So I just, Thoughtseize is great against combo decks. It's not a great Bane deck card. Put 4 in the sideboard and called it a day, basically.
All right, let's go over the rest of the sideboard real quick. You got a couple Grafdigger's Cage, Hate in the Graveyard, of course.
Yes.
2 Vendilion Clicks, just more disruptive. Action for the combo matchups, I assume.
Yeah, I generally always play 2 of each of those cards. I don't know. They're awesome in sideboarded games.
Okay. You got 2 Zealous Persecution. You told me earlier today you've never cast the card before.
No, I did last round, and it was a blowout.
All right.
I always played 2 Golgari Charms in Bug Delver, and honestly, the only mode I ever used on that card was -1/-1. And this card does the same thing, and you get some extra damage through.
Yeah.
So.
You got a Pithing Needle, another, Dismember.
Yeah, I got to kill Tarmogoyf, so that'll come in against Tarmogoyf decks.
And 2 more True Name Nemesis, just for the fair matchups.
Yeah, True Name, and Dismember. They're going to come in when the Spell Pierces are bad, like against other Delver decks.
Right.
Spell Pierce is pretty awful, so I want like something that can hold the ground against a Nimble Mongoose because I can't really kill it.
Right.
Until I can get a Battle Scroll down safely around Daze or something like that.
How does it feel to be the one suiting up True Name Nemesis with this unfair equipment?
I don't know. I've talked badly about True Name Nemesis in the past. Like, it costs 3 mana. I kind of want to wasteland people on 3 mana, but it feels pretty sweet. I mean, I've done it before, and I wanted to come back to it, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, the deck's pretty sweet. You're X2 so far. We're in round 7, so it seems to be doing pretty well for you.
Not bad.
I look forward to see how it does the rest of your tournament. Hopefully we'll see you on day 2. So, Steve, thanks for sitting down with me here on the sideboard. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Indianapolis.